Good evening. Welcome to tonight's webinar. Just a quick heads up before we dive in. Would mute your microphone and turn off your videos to avoid unnecessary noise. If you have any questions, feel free to click the question link in the chat box and type them out. Our speaker will I'll address them during the Q&A section. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's webinar hosted by the Center for the Study of Humanistic Buddhism at the CUHK. Tonight, we have a exciting speech lined up on the topic of Buddhist canons in the Ming Dynasty. We are super excited to have Professor Da Zhuirong join us as our speaker for tonight. Now, I would like to introduce our host for tonight, Professor Chen, the director of our center at the CUHK. He will be introducing our guest speaker. Let's give a warm welcome to Professor Chen. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good evening and good morning. I think this is the time of the morning in the Western regions, especially in San Francisco region. And to all esteemed audience, we cordially invite you to join us once again in exploring a wide range of scholarly ideals. As we all know, this lecture series is a way for us to remember and honor the respected Venerable Master Xing. Time flies by, and it's been 6 months since Master Xing passed away on 5th of February. And today we are honored to have Professor Long Da Rui as our guest speakers. Professor Long is now professor at the University of the West. Last night, Professor Long was unable to give his lecture because the internet was not working at his locations. And the topic of yesterday's lecture is the development of Chinese Buddhism texts from handwritten copies to printed text. We will organize these lectures at another time. And tonight's topic is Buddhist canons in the Ming Dynasty. The study of the Chinese Buddhism canon is Professor Long's big interest. He traveled to libraries around the world to find the relevant editions of the canon and discovered many interesting topics. Professor Long also traveled widely in China, the US, and Poland, visiting libraries, museums, and temples. He has taken more than 40,000 photos worldwide for his research work. Oh, it's amazing, huh? And in 2017, he found one volume of Lotus Sutras in Tangut language, Xixia written on indigo paper with gold powder at the Jagiellonian University Library, Poland. I think it is an invaluable treasure in the world and has aroused scholars' great interest. Currently, he is working on a concordant catalog, 一个整合的目录 of the 永乐北藏 永乐 North Canon with other edition of Chinese Buddhism canons. He has published many academic papers on Chinese Buddhist canons. Tonight, Professor Long will enlighten us with a comprehensive overview of the Buddhist canon in the Ming Dynasty. Let's welcome Professor Long, please.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Thank you very much, Professor Chen, and thank audience. And in the past 20 years, I have traveled widely in the world to explore the Buddhist canon with the support of University of the West, particularly the Grand Master Xu. And I was greatly supported by Guangzhou. I was invited to attend conferences in Guangzhou to change my views with academia. I was excited, and tonight I'm going to share with you some of my, I would say, new discovery, not discovery. Those things are there. I hope that one day I could visit Hong Kong and examine the career in Chinese University of Hong Kong.
I'm sorry, Professor Long. I think it's not loud enough. Is the volume not turned up?
I already turned. I probably should put my computer close to me so that you can hear, right?
So your microphone is working now?
I think no.
I think the volume not turned up to the high level.
Okay.
Oh yes,
okay
it's
now?
good. Yeah. Very good. Good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Once again, I should thank Professor Chen for inviting me to share my knowledge with you. Yes, I have taken more than 40,000 photos of Buddhist canon worldwide, especially in Poland, and from May to July, I spent 2 months at Princeton University examining their collection of Chinese Buddhist canon. I made some progress, which I will share with you tonight. Professor Chen, can I share the PPT with the share the screen here?
Sure.
Okay. So my topic is a Buddhist canon in the Ming Dynasty. The Ming Dynasty started from 1368 and ended in 1644. I just want to show you a Bible, Gutenberg Bible. This was the earliest Bible. It was printed in 1450, approximately the time that I'm going to talk about tonight, because I focus on Yongle Northern Canon. Here, I just show you a chart of, well, I should show you this yesterday, but I failed. Now, you just probably can see the manuscript. Well, you see manuscript, and then Kaiba canon, Korean canon, the Korean second, and Korean supplement, Khitan canon, Chongning, Pilu, Jin canon. I'm not going to show. Well, you can see this diagram, and tonight, or what I'm going to show you is the Yongle Northern canon. You can see that in the middle, Yongle Bei, Yongle Northern canon. I will talk about a little bit about Hongwu and Yongle Southern. Well, I should, well, people probably would ask me about the approaches, the methods I use in my study. Well, it's very hard to say what exact methods I use, but I was reminded by Junfang Yu Junfang in her book, Guanyin, the Transformation of Chinese Avalokiteshvara. And in the first few pages, she mentioned THF. It means text, history, and field work. And I believe, well, a lot of field work is necessary. You have to run, you have to travel, you have to open the door of the library. And as a Buddhist canon, especially the Ming Buddhist canons, are classified as rare books, sometimes librarians are very reluctant to show you the original, because the fragile, the papers or the covers are fragile, and threads and the papers may fall off when you turn the page. So other things are involved. You have to study geography, art, and sometimes epigraphic, 铭文. You have to check the bell, you have to check the stele, and the inscriptions on the stones, and even wood. I found inscriptions on the wood, and those things are necessary for our study of the Buddhist canon. Here, I just show you a map that the temples receive the Yongle Northern canon. This map is never enough. If you find any new collection, or you find any records of any collection before, you have to add something there. So this is a map that I made probably 5 years ago, according to the study of some scholars, especially Japanese scholars, Yoshimi Nozawa, Yeze Jiamei, and Taiwanese scholar Deng Shujun and Zhang Dewei of China. So here I want to show you a photo I took in 1994, almost 30 years ago. It is a woodcut illustration of how Xuanzang translates scriptures. And this one, did you see the black dots on the top? And these are the holes, probably eaten by bookworms. And sometimes people say bookworms are harmful, and this is true. And you see the page, many parts of the page, you see the black dots, and those were probably those dots were the traces of the bookworms. I visited a temple where the Hongwu Nanzang, Hongwu Southern Canon was kept. To my surprise, it was not very far from the village where I was forced to settle down in the countryside in 1972 to 1973. I visited this old abbot. He was still alive when I visited him. I visited him twice, but he probably died at the age of 102. He was in charge of the Buddhist canon, and he handed down the Buddhist canon to the local government in 1952. And this is the temple called Xiagu Si in Chongqing, not Chongqing city. It is only probably 60 kilometers west of Chengdu, very close to Dujiangye. So the Buddhist canon was discovered in 1934. A lot of hierarchies of nationalist government visited this temple. In those days, there was no road, and those people came through a kind of sedan. So I met the old monk in 2002, and he was still in good health. But the Buddhist canon is no longer in this temple. This was written by Yu Youzhen. Again, I want to show you another. Well, this is a photo. This is a photo probably you can download anywhere from the website. And you see all those holes probably are repaired. And so this is a very precious woodcut illustration of the Hongwu Southern Canon. And you cannot find it in any Chinese Buddhist canon. The two disciples were helping Xuanzang to translate the scriptures. This is a typical style of the Ming Dynasty. So the Sichuan Provincial Library now is considering a reprint of Hongwu Southern Canon. It was reprinted in 2000, but the monk who reprinted did not know very much about the Buddhist canon. He used Longzang, dragon edition of the Buddhist canon, to make up of the missing pages of Hongwu Southern Canon. Some people claim that Hongwu Lanzang or Hongwu Southern Canon was finished in 1399 or 1402. That was the Jianwen period. And they say probably it should be named as Jianwen. And here I show you a photo, which was a copy of Avatamsaka Sutra. It was on auction in 1997. Very expensive, but well, now it is not too expensive. But it was purchased by the book collector Willie. And well, we were told by scholars who made study of the Buddhist canon and said Hongwu Southern Canon was a recarving of Chisa canon. So you have to understand, you have to trace. Now I use our library collection of Chisa canon and reprint and take the photo and I check the word, the calligraphy, and I found that they are almost identical, except the color fonts. And up you see the photo of the explanation to phonetics and semantics, explanation of words. The lower part is a color font that someone donated money to print the Buddhist canon. This is merit making in Chinese tradition. My father was a reader of a provincial library in Sichuan for almost all his life. So the librarians was generous enough to show me this collection. If anyone goes there, they will say, no, they will not show any of those treasures. And the librarian was generous enough to share the Buddhist canon. and let me take the photos. So you see that the book was damaged by bookworms, and you see even the cover was eaten. I think that when people wanted to reprint this edition of the Buddhist canon, they have a lot of work to do. They have to use other editions, especially Chisar edition, Chisar canon, to collate or compare or to proofread this damaged part. Here I want to show you. I highlight Daming. Here is an empty place. Why it was empty? In the lecture I should deliver yesterday, I mentioned a kind of taboo. When emperor, here I just want to say that probably scholars believe that the Hongwu Southern Canon was accomplished probably after the death of Zhu Yuanzhang, the first emperor. So his grandson ascended the throne, and he was too young, and he began to weaken his uncles, because his uncles were local warlords or local governors. They were very powerful. So he wanted to weaken their strength. But his strategy met strong resistance from his uncle Zhu Di, who later became Emperor Yongle or Lin Chenzu. So Zhu Di was very powerful, and his army was in Beijing. His army swept across southern China. So Jianwen emperor escaped or died. So when Zhu Di came to the throne, he decided to eradicate all the traces of Jianwen. He said that Jianwen was illegal, and he should be the legitimate emperor, or the heir apparent to his father Zhu Yuanzhang. So we made such a eradication or elimination of Jianwen's case, also in Princeton University. And Princeton University has 18 volumes of Hua Yan Jing, on which all the Lianhao, all the dating of Jianwen was erased. So this was Emperor Yongle, and he was very powerful. Some people even say he was broad-minded, but some people say he was narrow-minded, because he executed Fang Xiaozu, who was a minister of Jianwen, who refused to work for Zhu Di or Yongle emperor. So he executed all his families, his relatives, and even his students. But in 1419, he decided to move the capital from Nanjing to Beijing, and he built this imperial compound. This is what we know, the imperial palace or Forbidden City. So inside the Forbidden City, we have this printing house. It is called Sili Jian. Well, here you see the workers. They hire quite a number of carvers, calligraphers, and even some scholars or monks to proofread what has been written. Well, what's wrong? So here I just show you how this is certainly modern photo. And here I just want to show you Princeton University has a complete set of Chisar canon. The Chisar canon, well, people usually believe that Chisar canon was started in Southern Song Dynasty, probably 1220, 22 or 23 until 1322. Some people claim that the Chisar canon was the Southern canon, but this was not true. Princeton University has a collection of 697 volumes of Song Dynasty, very precious, and then 1,200 of Yuan Dynasty, then 64 volumes of Southern Ming substitutes, and then 22 manuscripts. Manuscript means that people, they were written by handwriting, and so the editors or the editors asked some people to repair, to recopy, and the papers were white, so we called manuscript or handwritten. And this one was probably printed was a woodcut illustration, and probably it was part of Yongle Southern Canon. I took this photo probably 2 months ago at Princeton University. This is clearly a Ming photo, and you can see the apasaras on the clouds, and you can see a lot of disciples, monks, and bodhisattvas. And so this well, I'm not very good at Buddhist art, but in Princeton University collection, you can find quite a number of woodcut illustrations, which you cannot find in the reprint of Chisar canon in Taiwan or in China, or in the collections of in the reprint of 1935, when they discovered Chisar canon in Xi'an. And so this is one part of the woodcut illustration. This is another photo of the woodcut illustration. So usually they put the woodcut illustration on the first page of the first volume of each case. 每一函的第一册有扉页画. So usually you can find woodcut illustrations in the first volume of each case. This is one of the woodcut. This is one of the Yongle Southern Canon. You see, well, I should mention that the whole Southern Canon existed in the world for only 6 years. So it was made in probably 1399, probably or 1402. 6 years later, a crazy monk set fire on Baowen Si in Nanjing. So the wood blocks were destroyed. So we no longer have the copies of wood blocks of Hongwu Southern Canon. So one set was sent to Sichuan in the remote temple of Sangdu Si, which was well, in comparison, in those days, it was very far. It was not very close to the city. So it was well preserved until 1934 or 1950. Now in the provincial library. So when in 1408, when Hongwu Southern Canon the wood blocks of Hongwu Southern Canon were destroyed, Emperor Yongle decided to recarve a new edition of the Buddhist canon. This is called Yongle Southern Canon because it was engraved in Nanjing. How to identify it? And here at the lower part, you can see a cataloging word. This is Qianziwen, cataloging word 见, and you may check the catalog of Yongle Southern Canon. You can find that the title 修习止观坐禅法要 you can see that this is exactly the Yongle Southern Canon. So we found a variety of woodcut illustrations of Yongle Southern Canon. This is another one, and you can also see here the cataloging word is liang, and you can see that the Yongle Southern Canon, Hongwu Southern Canon, they all share the same format. Each half page has 6 columns, and each column has 17 characters. So this is the general format of the Chinese Buddhist canon. Later on, the Yongle Northern Canon and Dragon edition of the Chinese Buddhist canon changed a little bit. Each page has 5 columns, but still each column has 17 characters. Well, this woodcut illustration was not so, doesn't look very good. It was probably, well, the wood blocks, because the frequently use of this wood block, so you can see that probably the quality of printing was no longer good. This was probably in 2004, I visited the Beipei Library. They claim that they have Hongwu Southern Canon, but when I went there, when I had a look, and I immediately recognized that it was Southern Canon, and the librarians were very upset. They were so displeased that I told the truth. And later on, when I visited Chongqing Beipei Library again, they would not show me anything. So sometimes you cannot tell the truth. If you tell the truth that the people feel very pleased, they will not give you any upaya or fangbian to check the Buddhist canon. And you may, well, what should I say? Well, anyway, here you probably can see this is Yu Pai, Huang Tu Yong Gu, Di Dao Xia Cang. You can find these 16 words in many bell inscriptions. So in the beginning, I say that you should look at epigraphic Minwen, and well, these things are quite you can find them in the Buddhist scripture, Buddhist canon, or bells, or even in the Buddhist scriptures, Buddhist architectures. So I feel that I should do some research on the Beipei Library and Sichuan Provincial Library. So I collected some of their photos. I showed the photo of Beipei Library to the librarian of Chengdu, Sichuan Provincial Library. And he immediately identified and said, this is not the collection of his library. I mean, on the left. The quality of the left was inferior, but I'm not so good at identifying that. But the librarians have their sharp eyes to identify their collections. So you have to take photos. And in many cases, the librarians will not allow you to take photos. You have to say you are a serious scholar. You want to make a comparison. So if you check the word, I believe the word Xuan Zhang, Zhang, and you see the word, the carving or the word is slightly, there shows some slight difference. Well, the Beipei Library showed me their catalog, and here is a colorful, and colorful shows that this edition of the Buddhist canon was obtained in the 6th year of Wan. That was the year of 1578. To our understanding, the whole Southern canon was gone in 1406 or 1408. So almost 100 years, 150 years after its destruction. So how could Beipei Library's collection be whole Southern canon? So sometimes we have to let colorful speak. Colorful means the emblem or the ending words. So whenever you check the Buddhist canon, you have to check the end. So when I travel to Poland and Princeton University, I usually take photos of front cover, first page, last page, and back cover. So each volume, I usually take 4 or 5 photos. For Poland collection of 5,000 volumes, so I probably took 20,000. And this time when I visited Princeton University Library, they have 3,757 volumes. So I took probably 3,400 volumes, probably near 2,000 photos, 20,000 photos. Okay, so this is a collection of Princeton University Library. So as I showed you that the Yongle Northern Canon was distributed, was given by the imperial court. How many of them are still existent? And I checked the catalog of Chinese rare books, and they have records, but their records are never accurate. Whenever there is a new discovery of Buddhist canon, you have to add. And recently, I was told that the Shanxi Provincial Library, they have certain volumes they have not recorded in their catalog. So this, I made this, I made this map by myself. I learned how to do it, and so to use Google Map to make it, I learned from Professor Louis Lancaster and his students. And so this was the map, and this was the distribution or the bestow, the temples that receive the Yongle Southern Canon. And I would emphasize one thing: this is never enough. Both maps need to be added in the future if new edition, new discoveries were made. So this was the map. This was the map I made about the Yongle Northern Canon, kept in the temples in Beijing area. The Yongle Northern Canon was a court edition, so the emperor would issue a senzi or the an imperial emperor's decree. So this was probably the original. I'm not so sure, but it was kept in Zhangye Grand Buddha Monastery. They did not show me, but they have but another museum. Museum not very close, not very far from Zhangye, Wuwei, and I don't know how many of you are familiar with Wu Wei, but Wu Wei's old name was Liangzhou. And Kumarajiva, Jomo Luoshi, spent many years in Liangzhou studying Chinese. So he was well trained in Chinese language in Wu Wei or in Liangzhou. In Wu Wei, there is a temple called Kumarajiva Temple or Jomo Luoshi Si. If you have a chance to visit there, you can see a lot of treasures, especially that flying horse. I had a photo for the yesterday's lecture. And here you see the emperor's seal imprint. And you see the 水印 or the well, I don't know how to translate, but you can see the seal is the emperor's seal was there. And this is Emperor Yingzong's decree for the Yongle Ronan Canon. The Yongle Ronan Canon was started, the project was started in 1419. And so Emperor Yongle died in 1424. So the construction continued until 1440. And this was the distribution of, this temple received the Buddhist canon in 1445. So similar emperor's decree can be found in many temples. They carved the emperor's decree on the stone. This is a great event. This is the so here you can find such a epigraphy or the inscriptions of emperor's decree on the stones. This is another one. The wording is almost identical. Here at Princeton University, I found this emperor's decree. I was excited, and you see the seal imprint, the seal imprint. 时圣宣文明肃皇太后至宝 Emperor Zhenzong's mother's stamp imprint is there. And I couldn't find any other seal imprint in China. Other editions of other copies of Yongle Ronan Canon, I did not find similar stamp imprint, seal imprint. Here is Emperor's decree. I just marked Dami, and I will show you another photo which Dami was erased. So here we have another seal called Guangyun Zibao, and this seal is for the printing house in the imperial court. So I figure out that some people probably hierarchies or close relatives to the empress, they could get the seal. They could get the seal of Empress Li. And for some people who could not get access to the seal, they just print it or stamp with Guangyun Zibao. Here I took photo of, well, this is a similar emperor's decree without Empress Li's seal stamp, without the pattern of dragons. I show you this one here, a word Dami was erased, and the patterns, the pattern in this dragon pattern, you probably can find 12 dragons. Certainly, dragon is the symbol of the imperial court or the emperor. Okay, so this was Chongqing Library. What happened to Chongqing Library collection? So here is a color phone. The color phone shows it was repaired on the 18th day, the third month, 45th year of 40, I made a mistake. 45th year of Kangxi in 1706. So, but Dami remained there. But this emperor's decree, Dami was eliminated or was deleted. And some young scholar remind me that when the new court, when the new dynasty was established, the emperors probably feel very displeased to see the name of the previous dynasty, so it was released. It was erased. And so in 2000, Yongle Lonan Canon was reprinted by Xianzhuang Suju. The Xianzhuang Suju used the copies of Imperial Palace Library. Well, in the preface, the editors told us that 500 volumes were missing or damaged, so they used the other copies to replace them. So in this emperor's decree, we don't find any. We don't have the Dami. We don't find Empress Li's stamp, seal stamp. Here I just show you another robin. This is the robin of Emperor Wanli's decree in Yangxian. Yangxian is very close to Hanzhong in southern part of Shanxi province. So here you see Guangyun Zibao, and you see the decoration of the dragons on the emperor's decree. I visited Zhouhuashan, and they didn't show me the original. This is a replica of Emperor Wanli's decree. Guangyun Zibao is there, and I hope that one day I could visit Zhouhuashan again. I hope that they have a probably very good collection of Yongle Lonan Canon. I spent 4 days there. The young monk refused to. Well, he did not want to show me his chair, and I showed him my photos, and I showed him a photo of the Buddhist canon inside his temple, which was taken by a Danish scholar Moller in 1920s. I said, I know the design of your library. And he said that his master was out and he dare not open the door, he dare not. So he asked me to get in touch with the local authorities. And I got some friends to help me. And they made a phone call to the local Zhongjiaoju or Department of Religious Affairs. And Zhongjiaoju, staff members of or officials of religious department made a phone call to this young man. And they say, well, please let this Mr. Long have a look of your treasure. Finally, he took 2 volumes to show me and say, Mr. Long, you must leave in 10 minutes. I show you 2 volumes, you take photos, and you, when you finish reading, please leave. And so I spent 3 days at Zhouhuashan, and I spent 10 minutes examining the Buddhist canon. This is my personal experience. This was a photo of, this was certainly was damaged. This was the damaged emperor's decree. It is shown in the exhibition hall of the Grand Buddha Temple in Zhangye. When I visited Sichuan Provincial Library, I showed my photos. I always showed people what I have found. And I say, okay, I'm willing to share my photos with you. So the librarian showed me his collection of the Taoist canon. To my surprise, I have never seen such a thing. And you see the, I didn't see the, or in the beginning, I did not see the dragons. You can see the dragons, you can see the frame, you can see the seal imprint, 广运之宝. And so I know that Yuntai Guan in Santai County in Sichuan is a big Taoist temple. So their Taoist canon went to Sichuan University Library. So Sichuan University Library always boasts of its collection of Daozang, 正统Daozang. And but this Emperor's decree goes to Sichuan Provincial Library. Sichuan Provincial Library, well, the librarian was kind enough to show me this this Emperor's decree, so I took the photo. Otherwise, well, some scholars of Taoism have never seen such an Emperor's decree. Well, as I showed you, the Yangxian. Or here, this is Emperor's decree. This is the robin. This robin was taken from this stone. So when the Buddhist canon arrived, the temple must build a new house, or they must construct a new building, a library, or Zhangjinlou, to store the Buddhist canon, and they have to erect a stone monument in memory of the event. So this monument records what happened when the Buddhist canon arrived. So this is another photo from Nanhua Si in Guangdong. I found this photo in my father's book. So this is similar, not identical with the Emperor Shenzong, but it was given in the 10th year of Zhentong, Ming Yinzong, and so in 1445. Okay, so I have in many cases I would pay attention to the seal stamp of the emperor or the empress. So you see, can you see the difference between these two? The right one was taken. The right photo was the photo on the right was taken from Princeton University. It had 4 columns. It has 4 columns with 11 words. The left one was taken from Guangji Si in Beijing. It has 3 columns with 10 words. 石圣轩文明树皇太后宝. That's on the left. 石圣轩文明树皇太后之宝. Some slight difference, but but you can see the color of the seal. This was when I was examining the Buddhist canon in Princeton University, I came to know that the art museum of Princeton University keeps a robin of 9 lotus bodhisattva, and Emperor Shenzong's mother claimed herself to be 9 lotus bodhisattva. So here we found similar seal stamp. This is the way that we are doing research. I probably would write a letter soon to the curator of Princeton University Art Museum. He promised to measure the size of the seal for me. This was the photo I took probably in Guangji Si. Well, I did not know how to make photo probably in 2012. So I did not, well, the library was not in good condition. So I did not find a flat table to do it. And on the right, you see the photo, you see the seal imprint of Yangxian Museum. And unfortunately, the conditions of Yangxian collection is not so good. And I should mention something of Princeton University colophon. A colophon is something that people usually write in the end of a book or in the end of the note. So here, sometimes we often see that people say 到此一游. Well, simply. Here we have a monk who wrote his wish or his prayer after reading this Buddhist scripture. He said that he wished concubine or consort Wang and crowned prince in good health. And Emperor Wanli mistreated consort Wang, who delivered his eldest son, Changxun, Zhu Changxun. He did not like this boy. He did not like this lady. He favored his third concubine. He wanted to establish the son of his third concubine as the heir apparent or as the crown prince. And his intention was met. His intention met strong resistance from ministers. Ministers insist that the first son, Zhangzi, must be the crowned prince. So the rumor spread far and wide, and people knew, even those monks came to know that Emperor Shenzong mistreated his concubine. Well, to some extent, those ladies became sexual slaves for the emperor, and so the monks wrote their prayers on the back of the ending page. Here is another colophon. This time I took at Princeton University, Gongfei Wang Si, consort Wang, and Huang Zhangzi, Zhang Taizi, crown prince. Well, people silently pray for the good health of both. So from this, we could use this as the evidence to understand part of history. Historians told me, a historian of Nankai University told me that Gongfei Wang or consort Wang has been rarely recorded in Ming Dynasty history. 明史很少记载王宫妃. Well, because her position, her social position was low. She was not an empress, and so she was mistreated. Well, you can see that in the 27th year of Wanli, this Biqiu Ru Yuan wrote those prayers after reading the Buddhist scripture. Here, I want to show you something which I always puzzle me. Did you see some Tibetan words? And I'm not an expert of the Tibetan language. Once I deliver a lecture, a Tibetan boy reminded me of these words, and he said, "It means 开光 or the opening of or the consecrate to consecrate the Buddhist canon." So we still don't know. Things, many things, including this how to probably monks invited Tibetan monks to write words on the Buddhist canon. So here I want to mention the seal imprints of son-in-law or brother-in-law of Emperor Shenzong, Emperor Wanli. So here we see the Tianqi year, and Crown Prince became the emperor in 1620. Unfortunately, he was a very unlucky emperor, and he died 1 month after his father's death. So his uncle Wang Wei was the tutor and the guardian of the crown prince for many years. So he often visited this temple and wrote his words, 驸马都尉 or 弟子万伟, and he wrote those words. He probably read 800 volumes. So each volume he left his seal stamps, and also wrote, he left those words. So those colophons are very useful for us to understand how Buddhism was related to court and to the relatives of the imperial family. So here we have another word. This probably was the last year that that Wang Wei wrote his words. On the left photo, I just yesterday I prepared this PPT. I took the photo. I arranged the photo, which I took probably 2 months ago at Princeton University. On the right, you see the photo which I took probably in 2016 when I attended a conference in Hangzhou about Jin Sanzang, or thread-bound Buddhist canon. The curator of rare books section of Liaoning Provincial Library, Han Xiduo, said that, well, please come to our library. I will show you some. He showed me 27 volumes of Yonghe Northern Canon. And I immediately realized that Liaoning Provincial Library collection and Princeton University Library collection belong to the same temple, because I found the same colophons written by Wang Wei and same seal imprints of Wang Wei. Here, well, I found, well, I will continue this story. This was the colophon written by Jintai Samen. Where is Jintai? I did not know. We did not know the Buddhist. We did not know which temple owned this Buddhist canon. Commander Gillis purchased this Buddhist canon in Beijing. It didn't say anything about where he got it. Later on, I found it. He got this Buddhist canon from a temple which was probably only one kilometer away from his house, but he didn't say. So here we have the colophon that someone wrote it, probably in the Manchu dynasty. he said he was a Jintai monk. In Liaoning Provincial Library, I found a colorful, you may say a colorful, a red label. The red label says, bestowed to Huguo Cilong Si, bestowed to Cilong Temple. And on the right, you can see the same red label, which I found on June 5th, Princeton University this year. So I was delighted that those colorphones verify the fact that they belong to the same temple. Here is a photo of Princeton University collection. Well, the next day, I found another colorphone. Well, usually people, when people scan or people took photos, they probably ignored those words. And Xing Guan Gaoxun, and Gaoxun was a eunuch, a very powerful eunuch in charge of the forces for the emperor. He raised the fund to print this Buddhist canon, and on the left you see the dating, 1599. So Gaoxun built the temple Cilong Si and asked Empress Dowager Li and Consort Wang and Crown Prince and the royal family members to join him to pray for the Buddhist canon. So in 2009, I found this colorphone before I left Princeton, 1 hour before I left Princeton University. I found this colorphone, Kangxi Xinhai Nian. Well, it means 1671. So I did not, at that time, I did not know whether this collection of the Buddhist canon belonged to an imperial temple or not. I suspect it was located in the court, so that the Fuma, son-in-law of the emperor, could often visit. So you see, Fuma often read the Buddhist canon. In 1644, the Ming Dynasty collapsed, so the Manchus took over, and so probably I figure out that the Buddhist canon probably left the court and went to a monastery outside the imperial palace. But this was not true. When we check this, when we check the labels of the labels, Cilong Si, and Cilong Si, here we have another Jintai Samen Xing Duan, Kangxi Xinhai. So where is this Cilong temple? I asked a professor from Nankai University, He Xiaorong. He helped me to identify the location of Cilong Si. It is located in Jintai Fang, which is now called Guoxing Hutong. And Guoxing Hutong is not far away from Hohai. It is very close to Kongliao, Confucius Temple, and very close to Gongwangfu. And so this is the location. And you see here, the lower part, you see Yingding Qiao. That was the house of the purchaser, the buyer of this Buddhist canon. He was an American military attaché to Beijing, and later he became a book buyer for guests. So he purchased more than 100,000 volumes of rare Chinese books, or books printed in the Ming Dynasty or Qing Dynasty for Princeton University. So this is the location. I use the Google map and locate, and you see Se Zheng Wang Hohai or Gulou. And you can see the approximate location of this. You can also see Confucius Temple. I still have some minutes here. I just want to introduce you. Can you see the? Well, those things. The first, the left photo shows 大清乾隆3年12月15日, 15th day, 12th month, 3rd year of Qianlong. And the middle photo was the back side of the left one. Did you see? Can you identify certain words beneath a slip of paper? You can see a slip of paper was pasted as 大清乾隆3年12月15日, 工具. And at the back side, you see 大明正统5年11月11日. And on the right, you see a photo. You see a photo, 正统5年11月11日. And that was the photo I took at the Shanghai Library. But one thing I have to remind you is that this is a University of Chicago collection, and you can see 虚二, Tianyi, both are missing in the Shanghai Library collection. I'm still unaware of why. I figure out that they are printed from different wood blocks. Probably wood blocks were damaged, and I believe this one, the right one, probably was a recarving of the later one. So, someone in Tianjin, Zhao Yu, helped me to identify the dating. 大清乾隆3年12月15日, 工具. You can see on the left, 大清乾隆3年12月15日, 工具. That here, the record shows that dragon canon was completed. So apparently a monk wanted to tell people that his collection of the Buddhist canon was a dragon edition of the Buddhist canon. So we figure out that this probably was due to literary inquisition, 文字狱, imposed by Manchus in the early Manchu dynasty. And so all the volumes of University of Chicago collection all the copies are covered by this 玉字唐三藏经. To our understanding, there is no such thing as 玉字唐三藏经. So beneath the white slip of paper, you can see the titles of each volume. And here we have the similar color form. And on the left, you see that a slip of paper was pasted. And you still can see Da. Beneath Da, there's another Da. And that was Da Ni, 1里, 12月4日, 12年4月, the 4th month, 12th year of 1里. So apparently someone was here. I couldn't make it. I couldn't open it. The librarian would not allow me because probably the monk pasted the paper. He overused the paste. This is something that I don't know. I hope that someone can help me with those words. And the backside of woodcut illustrations, you can see so many words. 开光. This is a Yonglo Beizhang reprint of Yonglo Beizhang by Xianzhuang Suju in 2000. I found 2 words which we call taboo words. 1 stroke is missing. 选, this certainly you probably not, you may find it as part of Kangxi Xuanye's word. Hongli, that's Emperor Qianlong's name, Hongli. So, well, we were told of Abu names, but here the Buddhist canon shows us the evidence of such a thing. And this is, well, you can use this to check the previous one. I showed you this photo. 大明正统5年11月11日. But this one is, I want to, well, this is a catalog of Chongqing Library, and Chen Qianyi was a famous person of literati. He was a high-ranking official. He was a very good literary leader, a leader of literature of the Ming Dynasty. But he surrendered to the Manchu, and you may find the stories of Liu Shi. And he surrendered to the Manchus, but in his poems, in his articles, he cherished the memory of the previous dynasty. So Qianlong hated him, and Qianlong issued order to destroy his works. So Qianlong labeled him as Erchen, the secondary official. So Ren Yanjing Su Jie Meng Cao was destroyed. And this book, probably, this text was found probably in Miao Si, a white pagoda monastery in Beijing, because it was sealed in the pagoda. So here we have a Tiandi Xuanhuang. Well, because in order to avoid Kangxi's name, so the monk changed the word Xuan as Yuan, and this is Chinese tradition to avoid emperor's words. Okay, I want to show you a number of photos of the color phones. 慈圣宣文女, 慈圣宣文, and this was the early year of her title. And later on, the ministers or the emperor, her son, add more good words to her. So 慈圣宣文女, 肃皇太后. So this the 12th year of Wanyi. In my search of Buddhist canon, I found quite a number of high-ranking people donated money to print the Buddhist canon. One of them was Feng Bao, who was responsible for the well, he was a guardian of Emperor Shenzong when he was young. So Feng Bao was very influential, but history books do not record evils from him. He was certainly very powerful. He helped Zhang Juzhen in the reform. Here we have the color phone of his name. We have another color phone of Lu Shou in the collection of Buddhist canon or Yongle canon in Yunji Si in the outskirts of Beijing. This is very close to Fangshan Stone Buddhist carving grave, Buddhist carving, a stone carving temple. This was a collection of Shandong Library, and you see the seal here. We have a seal, Yuzi. It means the paper was specially designed for imperial court. What was 奏事牌子? Probably 奏事牌子 was a kind of official title, not very high, but she was responsible for probably when people came to the court to submit their memorials to to the emperor, and they would get a board, and this board would be submitted to the emperor before. So this lady was responsible for that. So she had this position. So she donated the money to print the Buddhist canon, and this canon went to Regenstein Library in University of Chicago. We don't know who got it, where they got it. We don't know which temple received this Buddhist canon. Probably in Beijing. The University of Chicago collection is complete, but it claims it has 7,200 volumes. That is identical to the number of dragon edition of the Buddhist canon. The Chongqing Library collection has the same number. Well, we still have some minutes. I just talk about the Yagino University collection of conjure. People do not know that Yagino University has a collection of conjure. In 2003 or early 2000, a Polish lady who was interested in Tibetan Buddhism wrote letters to all libraries in Poland, asking them whether they have Tibetan manuscripts. All libraries replied, no, except Yagino University. And they say, well, we have Tibetan manuscripts, but we don't know what they are. You just come. So she found that they were one conjure. Well, people always remember that Beethoven's manuscript of Ninth Symphony and Mozart's manuscript of Magic Flute. Well, those things got lost in World War II. They were kept in the castle. Well, in 1944, the Germans understood this, that they were doomed to fail. So they began to hide their treasures. So some of their treasures went to a castle, which was very close to Poland. So Beethoven's manuscripts, Magic Flute, the manuscript of Magic Flute, Chinese Buddhist canon, three prints of Yongle Northern Canon. You see the right words are identical, but color forms are different. So this photo shows three prints of the same Buddhist canon. This is rare, but the Polish collection is not complete. So here we have color form of 进士宫廷夫人好事. Well, I just show you, so that this is conjure, written by Emperor Yongle. Here is a word, 下笔, means bestow. Well, when people transcribe the words, they transcribe 下笔. Probably they didn't know the word. They transcribe as 碑. A scholar of Leiden University translated this part into English, but he understood both Tibetan and Chinese. He used this version, but he didn't translate as 下碑. He translated according to Tibetan language as 下笔, to bestow. So he expressed his appreciation of my evaluation. Well, here we understand that you can find many errors in Taisho, because Taisho, when it was made, the printing house claimed that it had limited sources of Chinese characters, so they used substitutes. But Bei, probably this substitute word probably came from Dragon edition of the Buddhist canon, or mistakes were made before. So this was conjurer. Very few people had chances to see the conjurer. This is rare. And so I took this is a photo from the book. I took the photo of this book, so you see that it is very thick, very solid, and very beautiful. Here you see the patterns. If one page is missing, you can see the missing part. So this was the conjurer, and so we still can use the conjurer to collate or to proofread the part of Buddhist canon. So those things are related. Don't ignore them. They are, well, Tibetan conjurer certainly is considered Tibetan Buddhist canon. So here I want to use the last minutes to talk about Lotus Sutra. In 1900, two French diplomats found 6 volumes of Lotus Sutra written in the Tangu language, Xixia with gold powder on indigo paper. So 3 volumes, well, at present, Paul Biot, the great French sinologist, was there. He told those 2 French diplomats, please donate them to the museums. They are very precious. So one guy probably later on, I don't know whether he donated or sold 3 volumes he possessed to the Guimet Museum of Asian Art in Paris. In this museum, you can see Dunhuang manuscripts and other treasures. And on the right, you see the photo of Paul Biot, who was examining Dunhuang manuscripts in Cave 17. He was an expert. He knew probably 13 or 15 languages of Asia. He was a genius. So he took the best documents of Dunhuang to Paris. Okay, so this is the Lotus Sutra written with gold powder on the indigo paper. So Shi Jinpo is examining Lotus Sutra in the Tangu language in Guimet Museum in France. And this is the beginning. And you see the woodcut illustrations. Indigo paper means a kind of blue paper, and the color is was written with gold powder. So in 2018, Shi Jinpo and Christina published the Tangu manuscript Lotus Sutra collected by the Guimet National Museum of Asian Art in France. Only 3 volumes. Well, in 2017, so 1 year before that, I found accidentally, I found 1 volume in the package of Yongle Golden Canon. I was surprised. How could Eugene Ponder obtain a Lotus Sutra in the Tangu language? We probably have to record the history of Tangu. Genghis Khan, you probably remember Genghis Khan, Chen Jishan. When Genghis Khan attacked the Tangu people, Xixia Ren, he was wounded and he died in 1227. So the descendants of Genghis Khan massacred all the upper caste of Xixia. So Xixia as a state, as a nation, disappeared in Chinese history. and its language and its culture both were buried in ruins. And Russian explorer Koslov opened the ruins of Xixia and took many of the treasures away. So I found this volume, and I didn't know how valuable it is, but I took photos of every page. I asked Professor Li Jilin, curator of National Library, and said, do you know what happened to this Lotus Sutra? He said, come to Beijing. We introduce you to Shi Jinbo, and Shi Jinbo may tell you what it is. So I went to the Shi Jinbo, I visited Shi Jinbo. I hear the first sentence he asked me, what is the color of the paper? I said, blue. And then he asked, what is the color of the word? I say, yellow. Well, he said, that's it. He was looking for this Lotus Sutra for more than 30 years. He couldn't find it. And this was Anle Xingping, 劝词品. So I got it, and I realized its importance. And Shi Jinbo told me, Mr. Long, you are still young. I'm going to be 70 soon. And Mr. Shi Jinbo is over 83. He said, could you go to Poland again and try to find the missing volumes of Lotus Sutra? They are treasures. They are national treasures. Each volume probably is worth probably 2 million, 3 million, or 10 million. This is the only copy of Lotus Sutra written with gold powder on the indigo paper. In Ningxia or in Gansu, people found Lotus Sutra in the Tangu language, but written on or printed on ordinary paper. I can show you, maybe next time I will show you the paper of Lotus Sutra in the Tangu language, but it cannot be compared with this gold powder. It was still bright. So, so this is one of the discoveries I made on my way to explore the Yongle Northern Canon. So not only Yongle Canon, I widened my understanding of Chinese culture or the relations between Chinese nation and other minority nationalities. So there is a long way to go, and I hope that it is almost time. Timing is good, and I assume that the audience may have questions, and I will be happy to answer your questions. Thank you very much, and thank Professor Chen for letting me to give this lecture, and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Professor Long. A wonderful, amazing talk. And now we are going to move to the Q&A sections. Okay.
How do I? So I already.
So, wait a minute.
Oh, okay.
I think tonight, yes, the show up. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Well. Oh, in that, well, one question I should if you get my email address, I probably think I think my email address is in the last page, and I can show you a painting I took in Zhangye, in Grand Buddha Temple in Zhangye. People welcome the Buddhist the coming of Buddhist canon. So it was usually escorted by Yulak. You can check that from the local temple gazetteers. If a temple received the Buddhist canon, the emperor's decree say he sent so and so, eunuch of the imperial court, to escort the Buddhist canon to that temple. Usually, the big temple or the famous temple may get it, but sometimes there is a Kaihoman, especially in Zhejiang, a grand secretariat, Zhao Zigao, studied in the Buddhist temple, Shizhen Si. He probably isolated himself in the Buddhist temple, and that temple provided him the living condition, living quarters. So he succeeded in passing the exam. He became the grand secretary, prime minister. So he asked empress to donate a Buddhist canon to Shizhen Temple in Nanxi, Jinhua, in Zhejiang province. So that Buddhist canon later on went to provincial library, Zhejiang Provincial Library. So I hope that is my answer. Another question, 时间永乐时, not永乐 time, it was printed in 正统5年. So in the Yu Pai, the imperial board, we have 1440 as the year that Yongle Northern Canon was completed. Sometimes we found Huayan Jing printed in the 19th year of Yongle. Huayan Jing, well, so many temples printed Huayan Jing. In the British Museum book, a book printed by the British Museum, I found the Buddhist, so-called Buddhist Northern Canon. The color form is the 19th year of Yongle 19年. I believe it was wrong. The Yongle Northern Canon came into being in 1440, and how many copies? I probably examined more than 20 copies. And 慈寿寺 雕版的地点, well, I think you can find that in Deng Shujun's book. I'm editor-in-chief of Chinese Buddhist Canon Research newsletter sponsored by University of Arizona. If you want to subscribe to that journal, it is free. I will introduce Deng Shujun's book, the distribution of Yongle Northern Canon, probably in next month or in November issue. 寿庆寺, 慈寿寺不同. Well, unfortunately, those temples do not have the, to my understanding, most of those copies went to state libraries. So if you go to the temples, the monks probably have no knowledge of their collections. So this is, I hope that, so the Poland collection was donated to a temple probably in Beijing. 慈龙寺, or I should mention 慈龙寺. The location of 慈龙寺is in Andimen, very close to Confucian Temple, and that temple became dilapidated in 1920s because Feng Yuxiang drove out the last emperor and his family out of the imperial palace. So those high-class people, aristocrats, did not have sources to support the Buddhist temples. So monks began to sell their treasures. So Princeton University's two collections of Buddhist canon, Chisa canon and Yongle Northern canon, were purchased in 1920s. Okay, I think that well. So I would say that each set of Buddhist canon is, to some extent, different from one another. no sets are identical. So it is important to examine every set. Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here is a question.
Okay. Once again, if our audience have any question
Yeah, I think
regarding to today's topic.
Yeah, I think this question is very good. The donors' colorphone, readers' colorphone, stamps, seal stamp, woodcut illustration, frontispiece, and silk or brocade of the cover. I recently read a book by published by Donghua University in Shanghai. It was the university. The book focused on the covers, the silk covers of the Buddhist canon. Oh, I'm amazed. On June 27th, I visited Museum of Philadelphia. Philadelphia Museum has a rich collection of Buddhist canon covers. The silks look so beautiful and so amazing. And so their collection of silks became a book. If you get in touch with me, I could give you the title of that book. You can send email to me, DARUIL@uwest.edu. And so I'm not an expert of silk, but I'm quite struck by the collections of that book. And also, Yang Ming wrote a book on the covers of Yongle Northern Canon. I think she is curator of Brocade Museum in Wanshousi in Beijing. So the editor of Donghua, of Philadelphia Museum collection is probably from Hangzhou Museum of Brocade. So those two books probably are useful for you to understand the beautiful treasures of silk in China. So as we talk about the Silk Road, well, this part it's very hard to get the silk of the samples. When I check the Buddhist canon, I noticed that the threads of silk fell off. So I quietly collected those threads of papers and of silk. I hope that someday I could cooperate with the experts of silk to examine the samples of papers of the Ming Dynasty and also the silk of the Ming Dynasty. I collected such a paper, or people say rubbish of fallen threads in Poland and also in well, another question, Guangji Si. Guangji Si, well, Guangji Si, no. Guangji Si collection of Yongle Northern Canon probably belong to Fayuan Si. In 2012, I got in touch with the Venerable Yuan Shi, curator of Fayuan Si. And he said that the collection of Yongle Northern Canon of Zhongguo Foxue Yuan, Academy of Chinese Buddhism, The collection is housed in Guangji. So if you want to examine, well, to my understanding, they have two sets of Yunnan canon in that temple. Why? Well, you probably this was the story of the Cultural Revolution, and many temples probably hand in their treasures, and later on, some of the temples disappeared. They were no longer there. In 1980s, when the government decided to return the Buddhist canon to the temples, some temples disappeared and they couldn't find it. So in Yunji, you can find two sets of Yunnan canon. So in Guangji, you probably can find two sets of Yunnan canon. And similar case can be found in Guanghua. So I figure out that the canon, well, yes, Cisheng Taihou, Emperor Dowager Li probably donated the canon, not to Guangji, but probably Fuguo Si. So I remember Guangji's collection was from Fuguo Si. Fuguo Si, I don't know, probably disappeared later on. You have a Fuguo Si Hutong. Meilan Fang probably lived there, and I was in Beijing. I know that Hutong, but I didn't know very much. Baowen Si Yinjing. Well, I think Baowen's collection, Baowen's woodblocks of Baowen's belong to Yongle Southern Canon. If you want to know more about that, check Jingling Fancha Zhi. You can see the Qingjing Tiaoli, how to request the Buddhist canon in the end of catalog of Yongle Lanzang, Yongle Southern Canon. Okay, I don't know whether I answer your question. Yes.
Okay. No more question. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I think Professor Long had told me that he received Princeton University Library Scholarship twice in 2009 and 2020. He visited Princeton University 3 times to examine its collections of Chinese Buddhist canons. And he also visited Jajjalonian. This is hard to pronounce. From Jajjalonian. Yeah, it's hard to pronounce it. University Library in Poland in 3 summers from 2016 to 18 to investigate into its collection of Chinese Buddhist literature canon. And as we know, the research work of field work is an important research method for Professor Long. He traveled to the libraries of many countries to physically examine the collections of the Tripitaka. I think this evening's lectures by Professor Long has brought us a lot of rich information. And in addition to looking at the materials, Professor Long has corrected. He has taken so many photographs so that we can see for ourselves, right? As he presents, as if we were actually seeing the version of the sutras. I think it was very refreshing. It was also very intimate, as if these scriptures, which had been lost all over the world and had appeared in front of our eyes. So all the reports are the results of the Professor Long's step-by-step efforts. And this step-by-step is the achievement of breaking the iron shoes. 踏破铁鞋了啊，去寻找这些材料。So sometimes in the course of the research, a lot of efforts have been made, but no result has been achieved. Suddenly, the information we need appears or is found. This is the most exciting time for researchers, right? I think everybody have this kind of the feelings. So today's lecture is very meaningful, I think, allowing us to see the situation of Chinese Asian cultural relics around the world, especially the Dazhang Jin overseas. These are the result of a little bit of research by scholars through their very hard work of combing and searching. Therefore, after listening to Professor Long's remarks in his talk today, we feel very, very emotional and grateful to him for bringing us such wonderful content today. So thank you, Professor Long. I think due to the time limited, the speech is over for today. Thank you all for joining, and a big thanks to Professor Long once again for all the amazing inspiration he's given us. So we'd love for everyone to join us again for the next public talk. Our colleague will give you an update. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, and thank you, Professor Long, again. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. We hope you enjoyed tonight's webinar. Once again, a huge shout out to Professor Rong for delivering an awesome section. Now let me spill the beans on the next webinar. The country is hosting another one on Monday, September 18th from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Hong Kong time. We got a special guest, Professor Chen Zhen from Kanazawa University in Japan, who would diving into the nitty-gritty of the formation of the role transmission in Chan Buddhism. The webinar would still be locking on Zoom, and we warmly welcome everyone to join in. That's a wrap for tonight's webinar. Wish you all peace, good health, and happiness. 中心将于9月18日周一香港时间晚上7点至9点举行缅怀星云大师汉传佛教在世界的研究与展望系列讲座第4场，由日本举泽大学陈正教授主讲禅宗传一说的行程。讲座依然在 Zoom 进行，届时欢迎大家前来参与。谢谢，今晚的讲座到此圆满。祝大家人和安康，富乐吉祥，谢谢。